Hey, welcome in. It's the Arrowhead Addict podcast. Patrick Allen here with Matt Connor, who has not been seen around these parts in a little bit, drinking a KC beer, which our podcast is sponsored by. How you doing today, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I feel zen. I've come to terms with the fact that this is I was just thinking like politically, this is a swing state that no one knows how this is going to go.
Yeah.
And it's not necessary to win some nomination. I'm done carrying out that analogy, but it's not necessary for the road, but it's very, very helpful. But it's just going to be a total battleground, and it's almost like no one's going to know until the last votes are counted, kind of thing. That makes it really thrilling. So I'm just kind of gearing up for a thrilling game and kind of, I don't know, trying to breathe easy. Otherwise, what about you? Are you nervous? Are you excited?
I am nervous. I'm wound up really, really tight. Very nervous about this.
Beer, by the way? Where's your KC beer? You're like, where's your unwinding?
I don't like to crack it open until I get into the game and I know how things are going. I just it's like a superstition thing. I've been doing it for a while now. When the Chiefs are looking good, I get up and I go downstairs to the beer fridge and I grab a KC beer and I crack one open.
Reward beer.
Yeah, when they're losing, I don't like to drink. I don't like to do anything. To be honest with you, shout out to our guy Clint McKenzie for the super chat. Appreciate you, brother. This is the Arrowhead Addict podcast. We're gonna let some people get in here. We're streaming live on YouTube. This is our pregame show, our Chiefs pregame show. We do it for all the big games, and this is certainly a big game. If you're just coming into the YouTube stream, if you want to do us a solid, smash that like button. Give us that thumbs up. Let's get some more Chiefs fans in here, even some Bills fans, so we can troll them or they can troll us. Let's have some fun. Let's party. Yeah, this is a big one, and I'm very nervous about it. I actually, much to the chagrin of many of our listeners and viewers, picked against the Chiefs in this one. I just don't like the setup for this, particularly with all the injuries, the young players on defense. I think the Chiefs are better on defense than they were last year when they beat the Bills in the playoffs. And I don't think the Bills are that much. I think they're the same team offensively that they were last year for the most part. But I just, with the injuries, no Willie Gay Jr., all the injuries in the secondary. I know. And the Chiefs offense, I think, is still gelling. So I'm nervous about all of that. But on our Thursday show, our co-host Matt Verderham, he talked me down a little bit. He talked about how the Chiefs get up for these games. He highlighted what they did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which was totally fair. They came out ready, focused, and just kind of whipped their butts. Maybe they'll do that in this game. My contention and what has me worried as a fan is they've been inconsistent, really inconsistent this year. And I'm okay with that. They're 4-1, but they don't always look like the juggernaut I think we know they can be. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Matt's always going to make some great points. We don't always agree. I'm with you though. These injuries. Here's what I think: when these two teams meet, and they will meet again, we're going to see this in late winter. It's what we'll see it again. These two teams will be different, right? And the Bills can say the same. I mean, they're missing Trey White, Micah Hyde. Jordan Poyer is healthy, but injured, playing through injury. Each of those guys are top 10. I mean, if you want to be conservative, each of those guys are top 10, 12 at their position, right? Yeah. That's three big losses in their secondary. If Patrick Mahomes doesn't find mismatches upon which he can feast today, something's really wrong. I mean, the Chiefs should have no problems generating some real yardage, especially with the array of pass catchers that they've acquired. But same thing with Josh Allen. I mean, if we're seeing Snead inside, we're seeing Josh Williams and Jalen Watson on the boundary. That's a formula. That's a formula for a magic 8 ball. What's going to happen today? Right. It looks good, or just who knows? So. Yeah, that part will be really interesting to me. The youth on both sides in those places where very smart quarterbacks are going to make adjustments and pick on those very people until they're proven otherwise.
I will say this: the line has moved a little bit. Yesterday, it was the Chiefs were 3-point underdogs, and it has moved back to 2.5. So at the last minute, you've got some, are these the fans? I mean, it might just be people that are like, look, man, it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and I'm getting points and I'm getting, good favorable odds. I'm going to put money on the Chiefs. That's what I did. I may have picked against them for the purposes of our show when we're asked what we really think is going to happen. But I'm still a fan. I got money on the Chiefs today. So what's your confidence level heading into this game? As a Chiefs fan, I guess we've kind of been talking about that, but I mean, how confident are you?
Yeah, I mean, it's 50-50 for me. I mean, I think you could literally flip a coin and not know. Are the Bills so focused from last postseason that they're all in on this? Are they reading some of their own press and they're going to come in a way with with like a little bit surprised? Like these are both very deep teams. They're talented on both sides of the ball. They're missing key players at the same exact positions. You're looking at MVP 1 and 1A. You're looking at two well-coached teams, and you're looking at two teams that made their offseason moves based on the other, right? So we got to deal with Chris Jones, so they brought in Roger Saffold. They've got to put front four pressure on Mahomes, so they bring in Von Miller. The Chiefs were like, hey, we're tired of getting burned by Gabriel Davis, so let's make our first round cornerback investment in 7-8 years since Marcus Peters. And just the wholesale changes there to get younger, faster, more nimble. It's everything that we want to see in a football game. But as for confidence level, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe some people who are just wearing the rose-colored lenses are saying, oh yeah, we got this, in the bag. But I think anyone who's honest, even Bills fans, look across the table and say, hell of a team. Who knows? And I was just joking with Richard before the show started. I said, wouldn't it just be the most ironic and disheartening thing if these teams tied today and left everyone just like really, really frustrated? They like no one's leaving with a win or a loss.
Yeah, that would be, man, Vegas would lose its mind. Speaking of, and look, I think people that do have the red colored glasses on, they should. I mean, the Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have given us every reason to believe that the Chiefs are going to find a way to come out and be competitive. Sometimes early in the season, they have some false starts and some struggles, but they seem to be pretty well in control of, unlike last year. Had some ups and downs this year, but they're winning games. This is going to be an interesting one. Now, the Chiefs, as I mentioned earlier, they are dogs in this game. And I haven't gotten to talk to you about this. Should they be? They're at home. They're 2.5-point underdogs now. It was 3 earlier this week. As we know in the gambling world, they usually give the team, if they think the teams are evenly matched, the home team gets 3 points, right? So in this one, the Chiefs are 3-point dogs. That's like, if they were in Buffalo, it'd be like an 8-point game. Should they be underdogs? Should the Chiefs be underdogs at Arrowhead Stadium with Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, I don't think so. Of course, I'm rigged that way. I'm a little. I was a little surprised by that. Although I don't read that much into it in a way, but yeah, I don't know. Were you surprised by that? It was.
No,
you weren't surprised by it.
No, because look, man, the Chiefs, they lost to the Colts. They nearly lost to the Raiders, who are a much better team than their record says they are. And they've looked, they struggled a little bit against the Chargers. They don't look explosive offensively. And the Bills at times have just looked like an absolute juggernaut, steamrolling teams. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not that I think the Bills are that much better than the Chiefs. I just think that based on the way that they've played against some of those teams and the way, and the threat of Josh Allen running the ball and all that stuff, and their defense, like let's be honest here, the Bills have a more talented roster than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like they like by a lot. Like, it's not a rip on the Chiefs. The Chiefs have some X factors and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. There's 3 Hall of Famers right there, right? But, the Bills defense, when it's going, is one of the better defenses in the entire league.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen is probably the second best quarterback in the league right now. So they probably should be favored. But the thing about Patrick Mahomes is that he's Patrick F. Mahomes, and like that guy is showing himself to be one of the best clutch and come from behind quarterbacks in NFL history. And so in that, and just an ultimate competitor, and finds a way to make it happen. So I get it, but the Chiefs have X factors, and that's a testament to how good Mahomes is, the way that he elevates the team around him. Since we're talking betting here, and we've got a few of you in here now, if you want to bet on this game, we've got a really great promo for you. And if you like our podcast and you want more of this content, this is a great way to help us out. I mean, more than anything else that you can do, if you want to take advantage of this promo with FanDuel that we have today. The offer is simple. You bet $5, you get $150 in free bets, plus 3 months of a subscription to NBA League Pass when you use the code Arrowhead. Now, this is for first-time deposits only, and you have to be in a legal state. But if you want to help support our show, this is an incredible deal for you. And it's an incredible deal for us, to be honest with you. If you're a first-time depositor and you're interested in making a wager and you want to get some free NBA League Pass for 3 months, use that code Arrowhead at FanDuel at sign up. Don't forget to put in the promo code, or we don't get paid. And deposit more than $10 and place a $5 bet, and boom, you've just really, really helped us out and helped us bring you more great Chiefs content. You'll get an email with instructions after you do that on how to claim your free month of NBA, or your free months of NBA League Pass within 24 hours. So now's the time. You think I'm wrong for picking against the Chiefs? You want to ride with me? I've got money on the Chiefs today in this game. Let's ride on this together. We'll check in at halftime. We can check in on our bets. So head over to FanDuel, use the code Arrowhead. And now I've got to read some legal stuff that I have to read. So just bear with me, and I apologize. I'm going to do this as fast as I can. It's new customers only, 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in LA. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369 in New York. 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee, 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming, or visit 1-800-gambler.net in West Virginia.
Man,
that's code Arrowhead. How'd I do?
Yeah, you did good. Yeah. You did good. Yeah.
They got rules. They got rules about this.
We all have rules. That's all right.
It's what's going to happen when it gets to 50 states.
Yeah,
I've been going to be out here for 25 minutes doing this. They got to figure out there's got to be an easier way. But obviously gamble responsibly, all that. So let's get back to the Chiefs here.
Hey, quick note. We're seeing a bunch of chats about Trent McDuffie.
Oh yeah. Let's talk
just
about
that. Just a note, McDuffie's not playing today. They've already said we're going to hold him out for the sake of rest. He practiced this week, but players coming off of IR are allowed to practice without officially rejoining the active roster. The Chiefs have a 3-week window within which they can bring back McDuffie, and they did not make an official roster move to bring him back. So he's practicing. He is ready. He probably could have played today. This is an Andy Reid decision. This is an organizational health, long-term view decision. So no McDuffie today, but you're not seeing him on inactives because of that sort of NFL roster loophole. If you were wondering, where's McDuffie? I don't see him. He should be playing, but you're saying he's not playing. That's the explanation there.
Yeah, and if you were reading arrowheadaddict.com this morning, which Matt is the editor, you would know all this stuff already if you've been tapped in all week. So make sure you're going to arrowheadaddict.com on a daily basis to get your Chiefs news and updates and opinions. So I've been thinking a lot about this because as a fan, I was really frustrated by this decision. The Chiefs are banged up. This is a huge game. Top seed in the AFC could be hanging in the balance. How are you not going to play him? But, then I thought about how great the Chiefs training staff is and Rick Burkholder and they do so well injury wise, knock on wood. Every year, they take really great care of their players. They don't rush guys back. And if they think he needs another week, I'm good with it. Because you know what? Yes, it's a huge game. It's an important game, but it's still just one game. The Bills could go out there and lose to the Jaguars or something like later, like they did last year. Things happen. It's a long season. They could get hit with injuries. But Trent McDuffie is a guy the Chiefs want if they're going up against these guys in the playoffs. And it would be foolhardy to risk his health if he still got some swelling or pain or whatever in a game in a regular season game 6. It just doesn't make sense. And the Chiefs have been playing pretty well, even without him. So it's going to be a tall order today, but I agree with the decision. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with it because I'm not in the know. It's not like Trent McDuffie's texting me going, damn, I'm healthy. Why won't they let me play? I mean, we just don't know. Hamstrings are those kinds of injuries that could easily be re-aggravated if they're not, fully ready. They can linger on for a long time. I think it's important, when talking about this game, this is a big game, but there's a ceiling to how big it is based on it is a regular season game. So, we can hype it all we want, but there's a ceiling as to how important it is. It's important for these teams to maybe gain an early edge in the conference number 1 seed race for the first round bye. It's maybe important for individual awards, like whoever wins this game is going to have the leg up for MVP. Some of those things, but each team still has a pretty good path to their division. There's 17 games to play total. Both teams came in 4-1. Remember last year at this time, and by the way, Patrick, this is really funny because I was just looking up the most traffic stories last October, right?
Yeah.
They were all about reasons why the Chiefs need to focus on the future, which players should never get to play in a Chiefs uniform again, because on Halloween, the Chiefs were in last place in the AFC West.
That's right.
So last year at this time, we were literally talking about the last place Kansas City Chiefs. This year, they're the class of the division early. They're 4-1. They're looking like a top contender while they're still missing key guys. You got a young defense that's coming together. And the AFC West already looks like pretenders from what we thought they were going to be coming in. So, the long-term view for this has to be kept in mind. And if that's the case, the McDuffie has to fall in line with that long-term view.
Yeah, and look, this happened last year, right? The Bills came to Arrowhead and they whipped the Chiefs' butts, 38-20. And at that point, they were 4-1 and looking like the clear favorite to be the top seed in the AFC after having a false start in week 1 against the Steelers. And then what happened? The next week they came out, they lost to the Titans. They had a bye week. Then they beat the Dolphins, lost to Jacksonville, beat the Jets, lost to Indy, beat the Saints, and then lost 2 straight to New England and Tampa Bay before winning out for the rest of the season. So, the Chiefs could beat the Bills' butts today, and we could all be like, yeah, man, number 1 seed, lock it in, and then they could hit a skid where they struggle, where there's an injury. I mean, just these things happen. So, fat lot of good it did the Bills last year to come in and beat the Chiefs. And, it was everybody, right? They all got over the hump over Kansas City. The Bills beat the Chiefs and the Titans beat up on the Chiefs while the Chiefs were figuring some stuff out. It's a long season. We got to keep that in perspective no matter what happens today. But let's be honest here. We're Chiefs fans. We want to win this game bad. Man, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to have to even think about it. You just want to be like, yep, that's right. Assert your dominance. We're still the top dogs. And, I think, and as we get to our next topic here about which team needs this game more, I'll kick us off on that. And I honestly, I think it's the Bills, because the Chiefs lost to these guys last year, but they've never lost to them in when it really mattered. And so even if the Chiefs lose, I think mentally they can get over it. They can move past it and they can say, okay, yeah, wait, we'll be fine. We'll figure it out. We'll see you in January. Whereas with the Bills, you've got the sting of that playoff game, and you've only beat the Chiefs once in the regular season, and it's got to just be like, if they lose this game, it's just got to be like, God damn it, are we ever going to beat these fucking guys? Like, are we ever going to get by them? And then it starts to become the monkey on the back, right? Like, I can't get by Kansas City. I can't get by Kansas City. And then do they press the next time they see them? They might press in this game. So I think it's the Bills easily are the team that needs this game the most. What about you?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think if Patrick Mahomes is able to say, look, I'm 4-1 against Josh Allen, you start to see some real distance, in terms of how these teams and the quarterbacks are viewed. And I know that's just a one-game difference from what it is now, 3-1. But if they win here, Allen can say he's won 2 of the last 3, 2 in a row in a regular season. We're at Arrowhead this time. They've got the better team, on paper, maybe have the better team or the deeper rosters, whatever. I think there's a real sense of incompleteness on both sides. I think Buffalo knows, man, we're going to get Trey White back. Like, we're getting a Pro Bowl corner back later on, and we're getting some of the key. I think the Chiefs know we may have a problem spotting Josh Allen on the run today, but we're getting Willie Gay Jr. back in a week. We're getting a top flight cornerback in another week or two, right? Whenever they decide to unleash McDuffie. And who knows what these teams are going to do at the deadline too. Buffalo's being tossed around as like a home for Christian McCaffrey, maybe some others. Who knows what moves these teams are going to make even on the other side of November 1st. Yeah. So any rematch could look really different down the road. But for now, I think the Bills have a tougher time, don't you? Through the division, the Jets look really interesting right now.
Yeah, they're beating the Packers right now, 27-10. That game is over.
Yeah, they're looking really interesting, and they could be in first place here if the Bills lose. The Dolphins are very interesting. By the way, Tyreek Hill is just looking. He's sensational wherever he's playing. It's really amazing. And then you have Bill Belichick as the coach of the worst team in the division, which you never want to pretend that that's just an easy win. Maybe it could be, but maybe it doesn't. So, yeah, I trust the Chiefs' path to the playoffs more than I do the Bills. If they lose this game, if they can't get the Chiefs monkey off their back, then they got to turn their attention to the AFC East and go, okay, now we got to do this gauntlet. And suddenly that looks a little bit more competitive than it was going to start the year. So, I'm with you. I think they need this much more.
I want to shout out all of our members who I know there are a bunch out there. I see Wendy. I see the usual suspects, USAF Chiefs fan. This is a podcast. We also have a membership. If you want to become part of our Chiefs community, we don't just talk at you. We talk to you. You guys are our friends. And we have a really great Discord channel where we hang out with all of our members. There's 3 different levels if you want to get involved. There's a terrific newsletter that one of our other co-hosts, Adam Best, the founder of Arrowhead Addict, writes. And it's just a great read, super entertaining. Of course, he's on our Wednesday show as well. So if you want to get involved and help support the show, step 1, do that FanDuel deposit. If you can, use the code Arrowhead. But step 2, consider becoming a member. We'll be hanging out in the Discord channel, watching the game live. So going through all the emotions together. It's a lot of fun. It gets a little heated, but we all keep it respectful. It's a great time. So before the show today, we talked to some of our Ring of Honor members and asked them if they had any questions they wanted us to tackle. So I thought we could do a couple of those before kickoff. The first one comes from member Jeremy Kennedy. What do you think who do you think the defensive player that's the most important matchup in this game, given that so many defensive players are out right now? Who brings their best today?
Well, I mean, I think L'Jarius Sneed is the most important player on the field today, based on what Spags is going to ask him to do. I mean, if he's already the most experienced senior member of the secondary, or among cornerbacks.
Yeah.
And I like his ability to create a turnover, which in a game like this, that could, that's going to be the difference. The last time these teams played, there were 4 penalties for 25 yards and 0 turnovers. I mean, it was a clean game. the refs were kind of just, hey, we're letting you guys play. And there was almost 1,000 yards of offense. Like it was bananas how much these teams got to play. So, if that's the case, I just think a guy like Snead in a thin secondary could really, potentially make the difference and upend something there, or else it's going to be a long day. Who's your take?
Well, first I gotta shout out Charlie Martin, who says he'll join if I shout him out. So I gotta shout him out. Appreciate you, buddy. Sign up. And shout out to Jesus Perez for the super chat as well. Go Chiefs, go Guardians. He knows I'm from Northeast Ohio and really am enjoying the Guardians whipping up on the Yankees. I love causing them pain. Great podcast. Thank
Charlie's
you,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Anything is possible today.
Anything is possible. Man,
Who's
I
your
don't
defensive
know.
player?
This one defensively is tough. Snead's an obvious one. Bolton. I mean, maybe it's got to be Bolton because Josh Allen's going to try to get out and run, and he's got to tackle him. Like, he's got to tackle him. He's got to take good angles. I don't know what the Chiefs – we're going to talk a little bit about what we think the Chiefs will do defensively in a minute. But if they're going to spy Josh Allen a lot and they're going to do it with Nick Bolton, he's got to make those tackles, and it's a tall order because Josh Allen's a big guy and he's not easy to bring down, but that's going to be key. And then I'm going to go Frank Clark on this one. And the reason why is because he's going to be out there at one of the end positions. He's played these guys before a few times, and he's not always done a great job of keeping contained. And sometimes he's going after that sack, and he starts moving, in towards the pocket, and he loses his contain. And that's going to kill the Chiefs if he does that in this game. So I'm looking for a disciplined game from Frank. Obviously, I want him to get pressure, but you want to send him right to Nick Bolton. You don't want to give him room to get outside and run to the sideline and make it a foot race, because they'll just eat you alive. So Frank Clark, the Chiefs need Frank Clark to have a good game in this one, especially with everybody else. You expect Chris Jones is going to show up. You can't expect too much from George Karlaftis, right? He's a rookie. If you get what you've been getting from him, I think you should be happy with that. If he takes a step today, great. But Frank Clark.
Man, I think that's a great point. With the way that Allen can keep the play alive and kind of reset himself, and really, I like Karlaftis as, like, there's no one on the front line who gives more constant motor and considerable effort than Karlaftis, and he can at times clean up because of an effort sack. And I think today's the kind of day where that kind of continued effort can make or break a difference, because at some point Spencer Brown's going to break down. I mean, Deion Dawkins is a really nice left tackle, but wherever Karlaftis is at, I like if Allen's going to be the continued effort of a quarterback, I like that the Chiefs picked up a guy who is going to keep that motor going very much too. And I don't know. I think that comes into play at some point in this competition.
I hope so, man. I hope. I'm waiting for that breakout game from Karlaftis, and boy, today would be a great day for that to happen. Let's get to a couple more questions from our guy, Jeremy C. This is a really interesting one from our member, Jeremy C. What would you do if you were the Chiefs and you win the coin toss? You take it or you defer?
I mean, I defer every time. I don't know if I can think of many scenarios in which I would not. Would you?
Usually I'm like, I like the Chiefs to, they're an offensive team. It's always going to be their strong suit. So why not take the ball and come out, ram it down their throat, score, and force the team to start playing from behind instead of putting yourself on your back heels. But I think I understand the thinking behind deferring, which is that you kind of get to see what the other team is doing. You get to plan to have that extra possession in the second half. And if you can get the ball in your hands at the end of the second half, you can try to go for that 2-for-1. I think that's why teams like to do it. You don't know what they're going to be doing defensively, right? So it gives you a little more time to strategize for that second half, I guess. Is that the reason why you like the defer move?
Yeah. In this instance, I trust a team with so much leadership stability and coaching like organizational stability as the Chiefs and the adjustments made. We saw early on against the Raiders, right? Patrick Graham, the Raiders defensive coordinator, came in with an excellent game plan, right?
Yep.
Lots of disguises, lots of stunts, lots of Mahomes. Mahomes was not playing well. The offense was not playing well. And they're down 17-0. But over time, Andy began to make some adjustments. And by the time they're down 17, suddenly it's like, okay, I think we're getting it. You saw Jet McKinnon pull off that big run. He was doing some things with the tight end, kind of masking some things that got MVS wide open for a big game that really was on that first scoring drive.
Yeah.
Then from there, they didn't look back. I want to give Andy as much time as possible to make those kinds of adjustments. It equals the early hole, but I saw that stat earlier this week. I know you've seen it. There's no other quarterback in the NFL with even a winning record when down by double digits or something.
Right.
And Mahomes is 11-5.
Yeah.
And a part of that is about Mahomes is Mahomes. But part of that is Andy Reid making adjustments even when he's down to ultimately come back and win the game with Mahomes as his quarterback.
Yeah.
So I that's why I go with defer on that one. We just saw evidence of that last week.
We know everybody does, so we'll see it. They'll probably both defer if they win the toss. All right, next question comes from our guy Raymond Chandler. What's up, Raymond? With the thin and young defensive backs, what would you like Spags to do to defend against their two quality wide receivers? Obviously, Gabriel Davis has the ability to just torch teams. We saw that last year in the playoffs. We've seen it this year. We know Stephon Diggs is great. Now, traditionally, the Chiefs Spagnuolo tries to take away that top threat. So, it's what he did in January. Stephon Diggs was a non-factor in that game. But then Gabriel Davis went absolutely insane. What do you want to see Spags do in this one?
Never abandon safety help over the top. The moment you do, Allen's going to make you pay. Diggs is going to make you pay. Davis is going to make you pay. I'm a little worried because Brian Cook's out, right? He's been kind of growing, earning he can be burned as a rookie safety, but also he's a talented, high ceiling guy, and not having him in there to help with that safety rotation is going to hurt, especially with Fenton gone, especially with McDuffie out, especially So yeah, he's got to continue to add that safety help. If they could be in real trouble. You got to blitz really smart here. You got to blitz real smart. You got to disguise what you're doing, because the Bills are just going to make you pay for it. Once they see the mismatches.
I thought a lot about this. Verderam was like, when we talked on Thursday, he was like, blitz them. You got to get pressure. He'll just carve you up. Now with all the injuries and McDuffie not playing, I think you've got to blitz strategically to try blitzing L'Jarius Sneed, doing things like that. But I'm in favor of sort of more of a bend but don't break situation here. I'd drop everybody back into coverage. I would flood all the zones. I'd play a ton of zone. I would spy Allen. I'd make him matriculate the ball down the field and hope that they make a mistake, that you get a drop, that one of the pass rushers gets home, and you can steal a couple of punts. Because it's just, they're too young. We saw what Devontae Adams did, and he was the only person they had to worry about. And he torched some of those rookies, and now they don't even have everybody. So, I like, we'll probably see some Deion Bush today, who I think is a good player. But I would just play it safe and try to make plays, try to force turnovers, try to make it difficult for Allen, try to keep him in the pocket and take your chances. And look, the Miami Dolphins, they did this to some success. They won the game, and it was the Bills racked up a ton of yards. They had twice as many yards as Miami, but it didn't matter. They stopped them when it mattered, and I think that's what the Chiefs are going to have to do in this one, given where they're at on defense. I think later, when these teams meet again, as we're about 6 minutes from kickoff here, I think the Chiefs could be very good on defense, and I think they could potentially play the Bills a very different way, maybe the way that Verderam was suggesting. But I think in this one, spy them, play zone, try to keep everything in front of you. And they did a lot of that in the playoff game last year. I was at that game. I was fortunate enough to be there, so I had the all-22 view. And it was frustrating at times because they kept converting first downs. They kept converting first downs. but it allowed them to stay in the game. And I think on offense, I want to see Mahomes run in this one. When he runs, that's the X factor for this team. And he doesn't do it all the time. And I don't want him to do it all the time, but it makes a huge difference. And he actually outrushed Josh Allen in that playoff game by like a yard or two. And it made the difference. It made the difference for them. So I think running the football on offense for the Chiefs is key in this game. And I would really like to see them just unleash Isaiah Pacheco in this game. I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been playing well. I know that Jerick McKinnon had a good game last week, but he's so fast. He's the fastest running back they have by a mile. And I think the Chiefs need some playmakers. They need some big play potential on the field. And right now, they don't really have that other than Travis Kelce. So why not have his coming out party in this game? I wanted it to be last week against the Raiders, get them all those reps and stuff. But why not? Maybe they've been holding on. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we see a lot of Pacheco in this? I think it's probably all Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, they say they go with the hot hand. There's a committee. It's just hard to say. I think today's going to be Juju's coming out party.
Okay.
I think this is going to be the game that we're like, okay, they're gonna do what they can on Kelce. Kelce's going to get a couple of his, like he always does, but they can do a good job there. But I think you're going to see, Kenny Pickett had a field day throwing to Kaiir Elam, their first round pick last week. I think he completed like 13 of 15 passes thrown his way. The Bills, the same as the Chiefs. Injuries have made them play young, inexperienced guys at key positions. And they've seen the good and the bad. We've seen Jalen Watson get burned, and we've seen Jalen Watson return the pick six to win the game. So, the Bills are seeing the same growing pains there. Mahomes is going to make them pay there. If there's a weak link, that's where he's going. And I think because of MVS, you can go deep. Because of threats out of the backfield who can catch the ball, because of having to cover Kelce, I think we're going to see Juju's coming out party today. The first 100-yard game, that's where I'm going. First 100-yard game for one of the new wide receivers.
Let's get it. So because of the way things have shaken out in the AFC today, the winner of this game will be the number one seed in the AFC definitively. And behind them, you'll have either a 4-2 Chiefs or a 4-2 Bills teams. Titans are 3-2, and then it's Ravens are 3-3, Jets are 4-2, Chargers are 3-2. So I mean, the winner of this game gets a nice advantage coming out of this week, as the AFC's a little bit of a horse race right now. It's a little Kentucky Derby. We got to get out of here. The kickoff is in just a couple of minutes. Just real quick before we go, our guy Evan asked, "What's your favorite tailgate food?"
Ribs.
Yeah, right.
I love ribs, right?
I'm gonna go with dip. When it comes to tailgate, dip is so versatile, right? Everybody's got a different kind of dip they can make. They got guac, they got
like skull, like skull in your mouth, like chewing tobacco or something.
Gross. I'm not a skull guy. I'm not a skull, but I like dips, man. They're so versatile, and you can bring them to the tailgates, and they're at every tailgate. I think dip is more ubiquitous than people realize. They say burgers and hot dogs.
What's your favorite dip, by the way? That's hilarious that you even said that.
Yeah, dip, man. I like the really gross dips with like the Velveeta cheese and beef in them. You throw in a bunch of spices. Oh God, they're so good. So good. Yeah, you can do anything with this. All right, listen, we're going to be back right here. So quickly, get your bets in. Head over to FanDuel, sign up, code Arrowhead at sign up. You get 3 months of NBA League Pass. We will be back at halftime right here on the Arrowhead Addict YouTube channel, and then we'll be back after the game for hopefully the Arrowhead Addict Chiefs victory party. Thank you so much for joining us. Go Chiefs.